Welcome back to another episode of Disrupting Distribution. I'm your host, Chris Turcott, Vice President of NTS Direct. Normally we cover industry trends, manufacturing spotlights, and often the untold secrets of distribution and manufacturing. But today, we're going to switch it up a little bit. In the spirit of Halloween, we're going to talk with a few people about some horror stories that they thought they were going to speak about again, but decided to spill the beans today, if you will. There's that one thing that can affect us at any given moment, and it's rarely talked about, but we're here to do that today. Did you know that 99.9% of jobs are susceptible to misfortune, curses, and even hauntings? In fact, 1 in 5 employees experience blood-curdling missteps and malfunctions on the job every day. Here are some of their stories. We had a situation where we closed a massive deal and had to bring in the right hardware to, fulfill the opportunity. It took a while to find the product, the right quantities. At the time, there were serious product constraints, and it was taking a long time to get the gear in-house. We finally were able to bring in the product and opened it up, and it was infested with cockroaches. Long story short, we had to clean about 30 pallets of hardware, top to bottom, make sure none of the plastic was open, and basically had to take everything out into the parking lot and process it prior to shipping it to the customer. Distribution is a messy, disgusting, dirty job, and I never want to do it again.
I've been in this for a long time, and those of you who have been doing this for a long time, you used to pull cable through buildings all over the place. We've all seen this thing that we call a rat nest of bundles of cables that you have no idea where they go, what jack they lead to, or if they're even connected at all. So literally, I'm in downtown Chicago. I walk into this building, go to one of the many wiring closets, can't tune anything out, and the first one I decided, screw it. Take out my shears and I just cut them all. Started over. When I did that, not thinking about the gauge and size and how old some of these wires were, one of the wires decided he didn't like what I was doing and snapped back and stuck right into my eye. Like I could see the wire in my eye. My son was there and he says, that's not good, and started laughing at me. I pulled it out. Started crying, of course, had a wire stuck in my eye. Put my hand over like this and started punching down 66 blocks with one eye and one hand. After 3 hours of doing this, we decided maybe I needed to go to the emergency room.
I can remember many years ago at my family's ILEC, we were going to do basically a donation of our time and effort. Partnered with a local car dealership that was going to donate a car. There's a local place that sells turkeys, so we were going to give away frozen turkeys for Thanksgiving. So around Halloween or thereabouts, I had to take the line truck, one of our line trucks, which is the bigger truck with the boom, for putting up, fiber optics and or telephone cables up on the telephone poles. So anyway, we're in this parking lot of a large Walmart, here in my area. And we put the boom all the way up, and I'm up there. And the idea of this prize or giveaway, if you will, was the theme of turkeys. So we took all these medical gloves that were, basically translucent, and we blew them up. We put a number inside that corresponded to a prize, and then we painted them to look like, a turkey. Kind of like when you were a kid, you would cut things out from your hand and make it look like a turkey. Same concept. Anyway, I had these huge garbage bags full of these blown up, neoprene or latex gloves with the number inside, and I'm 45, 50 feet up in the air on this boom. And we didn't realize that people were going to get so excited to try to win the car. So they're running as I'm dropping these these floating turkeys out of the boom truck, and they're hitting the side of the truck, and the boom starts moving. At first it was like maybe a foot or two this way, and I'm used to that when there's wind, but they keep hitting the truck even more and more. So what ends up happening is the boom starts swinging ridiculously, and I'm up there trying to get these turkeys out so people will stop rushing the van. I got people down on the ground trying to push people back from the truck. Anyway, long story short, I survived. Obviously, here I am today. But during that event, it was just a blast to see people rushing, and all the mayhem. And of course, there was money raised for a local charity, which was great.
So let me tell you a time back in the CES days, the Consumer Electronics Show. We traveled to the first ever CES International. So we packed up a whole bunch of gear, flew over to the Middle East, landed in Dubai. We forgot to get a couple of adapters, so we grabbed some adapters so we can plug in from US to the EU. We're plugging things in, getting things going. And mind you, this is consumer electronics time, so we have all these hi-fi radios and things like this. And so we're getting everything plugged in. The last one we got to go is a big Crosley radio. So it's got a record player on there, a couple of tape decks, if you know what those were. Yeah, the LPs, the 5-disc changers, huge thing, right? Plug it in, and all of a sudden, this thing just starts smoking. Smoke coming up out of the top and out of the back. So we quickly unplug it. We don't want to start a fire. Don't know what's going on here. We had the right adapters, but started looking, too many watts. So the power was pulling way too many watts. So we just killed this unit, fried this unit. But at the end of the day, we had a really smoking good deal to give away at the end of the show.
I was doing training and installation for a big account in Austin, multi-location customer, I think like 12 or 20 locations, somewhere in there. And very complex programming on a previous platform, not to be mentioned. As we built it out, it took me about 6 hours to set up some very complex routing between locations and overflows, and I'm demoing it to the admin staff, and they're live and they're seeing the UI for the first time, and he's clicking around really confident, because he's their CTO, and in the span of maybe 2 seconds, he's like, select all, delete all, confirm, go, and wiped out the entire domain, all locations, hard down immediately. He went white, looks at his boss, and they're like, what did I just do? And I looked at him, you just did what you think you just did. Yeah, they're hard down. We scrambled for 30 minutes, built them up, and then spent the next 4 hours rebuilding the after hours routing. So yeah, it was fun. That was scary for me personally, and very scary for that guy, because I think he thought he lost his job in that moment. But luckily, we were able to make it right.
If you or someone you know is experiencing hardware horror, headaches, confusion, and hopelessness, call the experts at NTS Direct. You can reach out to us at any time going to shop.ntsdirect.com, or you can call us at 1-877-483-5393 and speak to one of our professionals.
This episode is a work of satire and should not be taken as factual information. While we may discuss real-life stories, the statistics and terror presented are entirely fictional and intended for comedic and satirical purposes. Listener discretion is advised.